Most of you have attended SCCC in years past, so how are you enjoying it so far, and what is your favorite part of the con this year?
The air conditioning. Anywhere I can get out of the heat, it is so punishingly hot, and I just want to send a special love vibe out to everyone that I see in heavy woolen steampunk costumes in the San Diego heat. You're the real heroes. You are the nerd first responders.
I'll go with something more Barfly related. I really like the glow in the dark exclusive cover we have. Growing up, there was a Ghost Rider comic I was obsessed with that had a glow in the dark cover.
I should have promoted that.
Go ahead. The book we're here to talk about. That's what I'm most excited about.
Can't forget that.
I'll say sincerely, the high point is that I got to meet Patton and Jordan, who helped me and Ryan do this book, and it's been super great. They're not awful humans. They've been delightful, and we love that.
We have 2 days left.
No, we can't. You guys won't mess it up. Now we're in together.
We got till Sunday. All right.
Yeah, my favorite part was that we got to look them in the eyes and make sure they weren't disappointed in me.
Yeah,
which was really, really nice. That was really, really nice.
So Barfly Volume 1 was just released earlier this month. How does it feel to finally share this work with the world, and how has fan reception been so far?
I want to let Kyle and Ryan answer that first and then come back to us. Because they wrote... No, I have great things to say, but I want to hear what they have to say first.
I mean, we've put a ton of work into good, proud work, and it's always good to see that come out. Like, that's the best part. Crowd reaction, I think, has been pretty good. We would always wish more people read it. We're trying very hardly to get more people to read it because me and Ryan think it's something that we're very proud of, that we've done great work on. We're both very good, so it's very good, and that's my response.
Yeah, I mean, we both really emptied the tank on this one. Like I have never spent so long drawing pages as I have for this thing, and basically every joke that I can possibly cram into it, I am. Empty space is my enemy, and so I'm sure our letterer Nate hates me because he has to cover up all my background jokes with word balloons. But if you like dense jokes and rereadability, that's what I'm going for this.
Yeah, it's definitely rereadable for sure.
We were excited enough already when Tim Seeley did the alternates and people were beginning to expand the Minor Threats universe. These guys came in, did something that not only did it expand the universe, it expanded it in a way that was it's not in the tone of the original Minor Threats, but it is absolutely fits into the world. It's just a different aspect and part of the city. If anything, it's even below the D-level supervillains that we had in our issue, and it opens up this. As Ryan said, the amount of jokes on every page. It is a Sergio Aragonés marginalia level of just it just doesn't stop.
No.
It doesn't stop.
It's a rare thing in comics that you have something you can read 7 times and find something new
There will
every
always
time.
be something hidden. And a lot of his jokes, which I love, because they're signs or titles of things, he'll do this thing where he'll cut off half the title on the edge of the panel, so you have to put the joke together in context of what. And so that is, again, the level of, and then also this guy, is, what's your name again?
Kyle. Kylestarks.
Kyle is basically scripting a classic silent comedy. Yes, there is some dialogue, but it is all through body motion and through gags and situations. And I am so blown away by this. I'm blown away by it. And I've read it
so nice of you.
and I've read it. I have read it 4 times. I remember.
You have to.
And thank God I got to read it in the original inks, where you could see even more detail and see even more of the jokes. Mm-hmm. But oh my God, I'm sorry. I'm just going off.
We'll go through it together at some point. I
we
want to
will.
see. I want to see how many jokes you possibly missed.
Who's the guy that went through all of the Alan Moore League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and nailed
Annotated it?
Yeah, and annotated it. There should be an annotated Barfly of literally every single joke.
Hear that, Dark Horse?
Yeah, hear that, Dark Horse? The annotated
Black and white,
Barfly.
annotated.
Yeah.
Our only annotated
Yeah,
Barfly.
but not oversized. Please don't blow up my artwork any bigger than it is, please.
So can you tell me more about the Barfly's character and the decision to shape this story around him?
You want to tell them how it started?
Well, I mean, this is truly the closest parallel to a background actor or actress in a movie that everyone was like, that's a star, you know? Like if you watch, there's an old Jane Mansfield movie where Tony Curtis is literally in like 3 seconds, or he's just dancing with someone, and that just that 3 seconds, people were like, who was that? And so Barfly, you know, Shit Eater, our main character, was just literally sitting at the bar in the first issue. Doesn't speak, doesn't do anything.
Scott Hepburn creation. We
Created
just
him.
dropped him in there, and we're like, who's that?
What's his story? And a guy, it's a human fly hybrid, but he's into punk. What is going on? So we kept thinking, what is his story? And then these guys came in with no, this is his story. And we're like, oh God, they're right.
Oh, good.
That's the story.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Barfly is about it's like a major doofus superhero's henchman, and he goes away to prison. And what would that henchman do if your entire existence is to serve a madman? And what he does is he takes up drinking. He works at a burger restaurant. He's trying to have a happy life, and then that bad guy comes back. And then what is it? As your life is interrupted, and it's sort of a tragic comedy. Superhero tragic comedy, as everyone does.
We call it like a henchman coming of age story.
Yeah, henchman coming of age. I really liked. Yeah, someone said that. I thought that was great.
It was me. I
Yeah.
said that.
Aw.
That's a
Oh
good
my
one.
God, it's a hench com.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that really sells it.
I hope so.
Can you tell me a little bit more about the creative team and the creative process of making this project?
Kyle, Ryan, you're
Yeah,
up.
well,
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, Jordan and Patton reached out to me because they like my work, which is awesome.
We put out a signal over a podcast.
Yeah, they
hoping
sent
it would
out,
make it.
they sent out like a podcast, right? And
Yeah,
people
we
were like,
really did.
You did.
Shot up a
no, you
flare.
totally did. And
Yeah.
people were like, "Hey, they're talking about you."
We're
They're like,
such
and I'm like,
fans.
"Me?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, I like it when people talk about me." And then so we talked, and they're like, "Hey, we're thinking about doing this thing. It's this character, and here's a picture." And I go, "Yeah, I got something." And then not soon after, we were like, "Who's gonna be the artist?" And Ryan was literally the first person Dark Horse said to us, and I was like, "It has to be like it." We're both Midwestern boys. We've kind of came up together. Like we know each other. We know each other well. But we're like we're Midwestern boys. He's Illinois and I'm Indiana. And so as soon as Ryan's name was on the list, and I think it was the only one. Like this is the first person we're like, no, it has to be. Like, can we please make it happen? Because I've wanted to work with him for so long. And pretty much I write a script and then he does insane madness with it. I've referred to what he's doing on this book. You're tired of hearing this, but it's a relentless barrage of creativity. Like I wrote a good character story, but he's making it this aesthetic wonder. It's such an incredibly looking book that even if it wasn't me, like people should be getting it. I hope people get it because of me too. That'd be nice.
Oh yeah.
That'd be interesting. But it's such a wonderful looking book and it's so fun, and I think you can really tell like how happy I was to be asked to do this and how much he's enjoying making it. I think it really sings on the page.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said as an artist to work with a writer that's also an artist like that. I think your scripts allow enough room for play and tell me all the information that I need and like to let me run with it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can kind of see it in the first issue that the first few pages I did it out of order a little bit, but you can see that I was a little tentative about how much I could invent and how much I could add. And then once they were like well received, I was like, all right, here we go.
What else can I do?
Yeah, well,
whatever
like,
he wants.
Yeah. And so, so for me, it was like everything that I ever do comics wise, I try to make a silent comic. Like I want you to be able to tell what is happening, where they are, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, without any words. And so that with our little fly dude Shit Eater, he can't speak. And I mean, he can communicate to other bugs, but he can't speak. He doesn't have eyeballs, really. Like, he can't blink. He can't emote with his face, really. And so it was like this huge task for me to figure out how to make this character seem likable and understand what this character was doing without really being able to do any sort of real facial, features or anything like that.
That's incredible.
So,
You did it too. You
oh,
nailed
thanks.
it.
I just made him really squishy,
Yeah.
like squishy and like bendy
He's a
and
lovable little squishy boy.
yeah.
So Barfly Volume 2 will be out next month. What can fans look forward to in the upcoming volume?
Well, Daddy came back.
Yep. Daddy's
Yep.
back. The
Daddy's-
entomologist is back.
Yeah, what does that mean for him? It's bad. He eats shit. It's not just his name. Life is just perennially trying to smash him and destroy him. And will he overcome? Well, there's 4 issues. Issue 2 is bad.
We got musical scenes. We got a love story. We got one of my favorite designs Ryan did, where it's an alien with his faces in his crotch.
Oh, that's issue 3. You're jumping ahead. But issue 2,
Lord.
issue 2 has Sleeping Catman at the bar, who's my favorite character in all of the book.
Yeah, I never told you, but like, so we see this. Kyle put in the script, he's a weird dude. Just make a weird dude. And so I'm like, yeah, let's go. And so what I didn't tell you is he's a centaur. Did you know he's a centaur?
I didn't notice the horse
you
bottom.
can't. Well, you can't see it.
He's sitting at
because
the bar.
he's sitting at the bar. Yeah,
The
he's a
weird guy at the
centaur.
bar is a centaur.
If we see him again, he will have horse legs.
Yeah. Issue 2 is
I
like
love that Ryan has details in his art that he has to tell you because otherwise you will not see them. Like,
Well,
oh, there's a whole thing, but it's off frame. But I have it there.
Well, I love it because I became a fan of Ryan's from God Hates Astronauts, and that character feels like he walked off the page of that book and into the bar. So I felt like a crossover.
Yeah, I mean, God Hates Astronauts is done where I just tell myself, draw whatever weird thing you want to draw. And so that was the cue I got from Kyle for
made the
that
mistake.
character. I was like, yeah, let's go.
I made a mistake. I think that what you just said about Ryan having so much stuff that there's even more than's on the page is what makes him a good fit for Minor Threats, because Scott Hepburn does the same thing too, where all the characters are so fully thought out. And I felt the same for reading alternates, is like it's clear that there's, by how they're visually depicted, like there's more going on than even what we see here. So like for like Crab Louie, like so it's super stoked to see Gail Simone do something with Crab Louie, because I'm going to learn more, and I know there's more, right? So I think that shows in the art for for the 3 guys that have worked on the book. It shows how much thought they have also put into the character past the writing.
Yeah, the book is lived in. I think the Minor Threats books should feel lived in. This is a superhero continuity that's been going on for 60 plus years, and we don't get all the stories, but the background kind of informs you that there's more to the universe than we've seen.
And the way that people react to other characters, you can understand without us having to tell you what their status is, what their background was. Maybe this guy used to be a big shot and blew it. You just get everyone's, what the pecking order is, just how they interact with each other, which I love.
And speaking of Minor Threats, it was just announced a couple of days ago that it will be receiving a live action adaptation on Netflix. How did that
Whoa, hold on. Wait.
Breaking
On Netflix?
In case you haven't heard yet,
How about
Netflix.
how did that make you feel? And is there anything you can tell us about the upcoming show?
it made us feel insanely stoked, and there is truly nothing we can tell you about the upcoming show. We are adapting it. And what we're realizing, too, is here's one thing I can't say without giving you any details, and Jordan will back me up on this. There are things you love when you're writing something as a comic book that you realize this works great in a comic book, this will not work in a TV show or film, and you have to, what's the phrase, kill your darlings, and it's like, oh, this is
and you find new things. Like the exploration is fun to be like, well, what happened between these two scenes, and what goes on here, and who's this character, and what's their story. So it's fun to revisit what we've already done and find new ways to tell it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you from where I sit, and I'm not involved with that. It's super exciting for me, because we like Minor Threats, to see that's these two guys who are doing the adaptation, because they love it also. And I think that's super exciting, is to have the people who love the thing have to adapt themselves, which is a torture, I'm sure. But for me, like, it's so thrilling to be like, oh, Minor Threats on Netflix? That's awesome. Who's doing it? Jordan and Patton are doing it. Like, it's thrilling.
Yeah.
And the big thing is we just want it to feel like a Scott Hepburn comic.
Yes.
So if we can translate the feeling of his art into the show,
Visually
that's
dense.
the goal.
Patton, it went viral earlier this year that your Parks and Rec's improvised filibuster was referenced and in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
How did that make you feel? And do you happen to have any other Star Wars predictions for us?
At this point, I don't have any Star Wars predictions because they're not even going forward. They're going backwards into this crazy High Republic stuff. So I don't know enough about that history. I didn't read George Lucas's original, apparently 300-page screenplay for Star Wars, but it did feel, and I had it confirmed by Favreau, that they matched the panning down from the twin sons of Tatooine to the sand. The hand comes up, comes down, and pulls. That matches the pace of the beginning of that thing. So it's like, okay, I guess I influenced Star Wars a little bit. So that felt
Just
good.
make a prediction. Who's Salacious Crumb going to marry? Just
Who's he
cut
gonna? Yeah, exactly. Might as well throw anything out there, you know.
Yeah, you might
But
as
hang
well.
on, this is a power now. I got to use it responsibly. Yeah,
Max Rebo's series.
Yeah,
Max Rebo series.
Max Rebo behind the music.
Yeah.
So for my final question, I wanted to ask you all, what does the future have in store for Barfly and the overall Minor Threats comic book series? And is there any upcoming projects you're particularly really excited about?
There's so much coming up. We have a Welcome to Twilight series of one-shots that look at other parts of the Minor Threats world that are being done by Brian Michael Bendis, Gail Simone, Jerry Duggan, and Matt Fraction.
Mike Allred.
And then we have Heath Corson is doing one called The Brood, which is about a A-list supervillain family within Twilight City and Meteor Falls and what they're so. The world is being built, and other people are bringing stuff, and I actually don't know what's going to happen with Little Shit Eater next, but
Sales decide everything.
Sales decide everything, people. But definitely, I don't see him ever going away.
He's got some
Punk
stuff
will
coming
never
up.
die.
Yeah.